Breaking news, Vikings Nation. The first revelation is about to detonate inside US Bank Stadium, and it's going to shake the entire NFC North to its core. We're talking about 5 earth-shattering updates that could redefine everything you thought you knew about this purple and gold franchise heading into the most crucial season opener in recent memory. A defensive superstar just joined our biggest divisional rival in a move that nobody saw coming. A rookie undrafted free agent is about to become your new favorite player after defensive coordinator Brian Flores can't stop raving about his incredible rise. Our injury report is sending shockwaves through the locker room with multiple starters questionable for Monday Night Football. And wait until you hear the absolutely wild prediction that has one major analyst putting the Vikings dead last in the NFC North after what happened with a certain quarterback who's now wearing Seattle colors. Each of these shocks could redefine the future of this team, and I'm about to break down every single detail that has the football world buzzing about Minnesota right now. If you bleed purple and gold more than you hate the Packers, smash that like button, because this is the kind of insider information that separates real Vikings fans from fair weather followers. But hold on, as shocking as all of that sounds, the next update cuts even deeper, and it involves the one player who single-handedly destroyed our offensive line back in November 2022. Remember that humiliating 43 beatdown at home against Dallas when we got booed off our own field? Well, the nightmare just got twice as terrifying because Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer. Let me paint you the picture of what this means for our Super Bowl aspirations. Because this isn't just about facing one of the NFL's most dominant pass rushers twice a year instead of once. This is about the psychological warfare that's about to unfold every time we step on the field against our most hated rivals. Back on November 20th, 2022, we were riding high with an 8-1 record, feeling like we could conquer the world after beating Josh Allen and Buffalo in overtime. And then 3:25 p.m. rolled around and Parsons turned Christian Darrisaw into a turnstile. The man lined up for only 38 snaps but finished with 9 pressures, terrorizing our quarterback on nearly 25% of his plays. And that was just the beginning of our collapse from a magical season into another playoff disappointment. Since entering the league in 2021, Parsons has ranked 9th, 1st, and 7th in NFL pressures according to Pro Football Focus, making him an absolute monster who can single-handedly wreck game plans. Now imagine that level of dominance wearing cheese and gold, lining up across from our rebuilt offensive line twice a year, with all the motivation in the world to prove he can destroy us, even more effectively in division games. General Manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah spent the last 2 seasons systematically upgrading our interior line after getting destroyed by Detroit in Week 18 and the Rams in the playoffs. Bringing in Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, and first-round pick Donovan Jackson to replace the disaster that was Garrett Bradbury and company. But here's the terrifying reality. We weren't just preparing to face Parsons once instead of twice this season. We were already scheduled to battle a murderer's row of pass rushers, including Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, and Khalil Mack from our AFC slate alone. Add in the Philadelphia Eagles' fearsome front 7, Dexter Lawrence, and facing Aiden Hutchinson and Montez Sweat twice each, and our road to the Super Bowl was already going to run directly through our offensive line's ability to protect J.J. McCarthy. Now with Parsons in Green Bay, that road just became a gauntlet of pure hell where one bad performance could derail our entire season. The question isn't whether our line can handle this pressure, it's whether they can rise to elite status fast enough to keep our championship dreams alive when facing the best pass rusher in the division twice a year. And just when you thought the Parsons news couldn't get more intense, here comes the next bombshell that's sending shockwaves through TCO Performance Center. Our injury report for Monday Night Football is a complete mixed bag that has coaches, players, and fans holding their breath about who's actually going to be available when we take the field against Chicago. Let's start with the good news because we need some positive energy after that Parsons revelation. Jalen Naylor and Andrew Van Ginkel are both listed as full participants. I'm ready to roll for the season opener. Naylor jammed his hand during joint practices with New England last month and had to undergo a minor procedure, but he's going to share WR2 and WR3 duties with Adam Thielen alongside Justin Jefferson, who's obviously our clear top target and thankfully absent from the injury report after missing most of August with that mild hamstring strain. Van Ginkel had missed the last few weeks with a neck injury, but Jonathan Greenard's wingman is locked and loaded to terrorize opposing quarterbacks. We're also getting great news about Will Fries, Jonathan Allen, and Javon Hargrave, all players who missed significant time last season due to injuries but should be ready to anchor our defensive and offensive lines. But here's where things get concerning, and I mean really concerning for Vikings Nation, because the bad news might outweigh the good. Christian Darrisaw is missing practice altogether with that knee injury, and while Kevin O'Connell is cautiously optimistic about his availability, we're talking about our franchise left tackle who's supposed to protect J.J. McCarthy's blindside against Montez Sweat and the Bears pass rush on Monday Night Football. O'Connell said Wednesday, "I just know what my eyes have shown me, what Christian's demonstrated has given us through a really calculated plan, a good possibility of him playing on Monday night, but that's coach speak for we're really not sure and we're sweating bullets about this." The other massive concern is Harrison Smith being listed as did not practice due to that mysterious illness or personal health matter that's kept our veteran safety out for weeks. Smith was present for Wednesday's walkthrough but didn't practice. And while a veteran of his caliber doesn't need practice reps to be mentally ready, this is about physical conditioning and timing in Brian Flores' complex defensive scheme. We also have rookie defensive tackle Elijah Williams missing practice with a hamstring injury, which likely means he'll be inactive Monday night, and running back Xavier Scott is dealing with an ankle issue that could leave us thin in the backfield behind Aaron Jones. The Bears aren't exactly healthy either with 7 players on their injury report, but the biggest concern for them is cornerback Jalen Johnson being limited with calf and groin issues. If he can't go, that could launch Justin Jefferson into a massive game that breaks the internet and reminds everyone why he's the best receiver in the NFC. But trust me, the story only gets more fascinating from here, because we need to talk about the rookie who's becoming an absolute fan favorite and proving that undrafted doesn't mean unwanted. Brian Flores cannot stop praising defensive lineman Elijah Williams. And when you hear what the defensive coordinator has to say about this kid, you're going to understand why Vikings Nation is getting excited about another diamond in the rough. Williams signed out of rookie minicamp, which is already a massive sign that the organization believes in your potential, especially when you had zero fanfare going into the weekend and half the talent there already had contracts locked up. Throughout training camp, Williams consistently earned praise across the board from coaches, teammates, and observers, and now he's made the initial 53-man roster as one of 7 undrafted free agents that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah kept this season. When Flores was asked about Williams, he unleashed a praise session that should have every Vikings fan excited about what we've discovered. Elijah really did a fantastic job all the way through, from the rookie tryout flashing there, and then getting into meetings and getting into walkthroughs and practice, and then flashing a little bit more in drills. He really took advantage of his opportunities and did some really nice things. He just built all the way through training camp. But Flores wasn't done. He continued. It's one of those things early on, like he's making a couple of good plays and maybe we have something here, or maybe it's a practice squad. And then it's like, hold on a second. He just kind of built and built and built and did a lot of good things in preseason games. The movement, the quickness, the tenacity, and then you get him in the building and you know what kind of person he is, what kind of worker he is. So there's this feeling that he's going to be able to develop even more so. This is the kind of player development story that makes the NFL beautiful. A kid with no draft pedigree who just outworks everyone around him until coaches have no choice but to notice his impact. The Vikings kept 6 defensive linemen total, and based on last year's rotation patterns, Williams is going to get real playing time during the season, just like Jalen Redmond and Taki Taimani did as young players. Flores wrapped up his comments with a challenge that shows he truly believes in Williams' potential. Hopefully that's not the pinnacle of their career. They can take that goal that they've made a team and then continue to attack every day the same way. When your defensive coordinator is talking about a rookie UDFA with this level of enthusiasm and expectation, You know you found something special, and Williams represents everything Vikings fans love about this organization's ability to find talent in unexpected places. Stay with me, because what comes next will flip the script in ways nobody predicted, and it involves some major injury concerns that could completely alter how Monday night unfolds. The first official injury report of the 2025 season has dropped, and there are multiple players not practicing that could create serious problems for our season opener against Chicago. We already touched on some of these concerns, but let me break down exactly why this injury report is causing panic in the front office and among fans who are desperately hoping for a hot start to replicate last year's success. Harrison Smith and Christian Darrisaw both have did not practice designations, and these aren't just any players. We're talking about a future Hall of Fame safety and our franchise left tackle, who are absolutely crucial to our championship aspirations. Smith has been dealing with this personal health matter, described as an illness, for weeks now, missing multiple weeks of practice. And while he went through walkthroughs on Wednesday, sitting out practice on Thursday raises serious questions about his availability for Monday Night Football. The man is entering his age 36 season and has been the quarterback of our secondary for over a decade, so losing his veteran leadership and on-field intelligence against the Bears offense trying to establish rhythm with their new coordinator would be devastating. Darrisaw's situation is equally concerning because he's been working through a carefully calculated ramp-up period after that knee injury. And head coach Kevin O'Connell's comments suggest they're genuinely unsure about his status for Monday night. If Darrisaw can't go against the Bears pass rush featuring Montez Sweat and Daya Odeyingbo, we're looking at a potentially catastrophic situation for J.J. McCarthy's first NFL start. The Bears have their own injury concerns with 7 players on their report, but none more significant than cornerback Jaylon Johnson being limited with calf and groin issues. If he's compromised or can't play, Justin Jefferson could absolutely torch Chicago's secondary in what would be a perfect welcome back gift after missing most of training camp. We also have Elijah Williams dealing with a hamstring injury that will likely make him inactive, and Xavier Scott's ankle issue could leave us thin at running back depth behind Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. The reality is that Saturday's injury report will tell us everything we need to know about who's actually going to be available for this crucial division game, but right now, there are legitimate concerns about having our best players healthy and ready when the lights are brightest. And listen closely. The next revelation might be the most decisive in this franchise's recent history, because we're about to discuss a prediction that has analysts questioning everything the Vikings did this offseason. CBS Sports' Garrett Padell is predicting the Minnesota Vikings will finish last in the NFC North after letting Sam Darnold walk away to Seattle, and his reasoning is going to make every Vikings fan either furious or terrified about what we've gotten ourselves into. Podell wrote in his analysis, "All of the offensive talent for the Vikings will be tasked with elevating J.J. McCarthy, the 10th overall pick of 2024. The issue is that McCarthy's draft profile entering his rookie year was that of a bust. The NFC North is one of the premier divisions in football, and the Vikings entering 2025 with an inexperienced quarterback who didn't produce at a high level in college could result in a last place finish for Minnesota." This isn't just some random hot take from a blogger. This is a respected analyst from CBS Sports looking at our quarterback situation and predicting complete disaster after we went 14-3 last season and made the playoffs. The core of his argument centers around our decision to move on from Sam Darnold, who threw for 319 yards and 35 touchdowns last season while leading us to one of the best records in the NFC, in favor of giving the keys to JJ. McCarthy, who has 0 NFL experience and what Padell calls a concerning college profile. ESPN Stephen A. Smith echoed these concerns on First Take, expressing confusion about why we didn't keep Darnold after he helped us reach the playoffs. Sam Darnold was playing for the Vikings last year, Smith said. That guy threw 35 touchdowns. Yeah, 35 touchdowns, with 12 interceptions, over 4,300 yards, and you let him walk. Why did you let him walk? Because of a rookie from Michigan, JJ is. McCarthy, who was the first top 10 drafted quarterback who never threw for 3,000 yards in a season, never ran for more than 500 yards in a season. That never happened before with a top 10 quarterback. The statistics are jarring when you think about him. We're going from a quarterback who threw 35 touchdowns and led us to 14 wins to a 22-year-old who's never started an NFL game and whose college production raises legitimate questions about his ceiling. Meanwhile, Darnold signed a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with Seattle and will be motivated to prove we made a massive mistake by letting him go. The pressure is entirely on Kevin O'Connell and this front office to prove they made the right call by believing in McCarthy's potential over Darnold's proven production. Because if we struggle early and Seattle takes off with our former quarterback, this decision could haunt the organization for years to come. And if this week felt like an earthquake, what's coming next could be the aftershock that topples our entire season. Because the reality is that Monday Night Football against Chicago is just the beginning of a gauntlet that will test every single decision this organization made during the offseason. We're facing Micah Parsons twice a year. Now that he's in Green Bay, our injury report has multiple starters questionable for the opener. We've got a rookie making his NFL debut against the stout Bears defense, and national analysts are predicting we'll collapse from playoff team to basement dwellers in one offseason. But here's what those doubters don't understand about Vikings Nation. We thrive when everyone counts us out. We rally around young quarterbacks who have championship DNA, and we've built something special in Minnesota that goes beyond one player or one season. JJ. McCarthy didn't win a national championship at Michigan by accident. Our offensive line additions of Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, and Donovan Jackson address real weaknesses from previous seasons. And Brian Flores has his defense ready to dominate regardless of who's available on Monday night. The Micah Parsons news is concerning, but it also gives us extra motivation to prove our rebuilt offensive line can handle elite pass rushers. And there's something poetic about facing that challenge twice a year against our biggest rivals. Our injury concerns are real, but championship teams find ways to win when key players are compromised. And this Vikings roster has the depth and talent to overcome adversity. The predictions about finishing last in the division are bulletin board material that will fuel this team all season long, especially when we prove that J.J. McCarthy was worth moving on from Sam Darnold's solid but ultimately limited ceiling. Every championship team faces moments where the football world questions their decisions, their health, and their ability to